The remains of giants in Ecuador. In 1964, several local people contacted Father Carlos Vaca. Carlos was a priest who worked with local hospitals. The locals had found a pile of weird bones in the mountainous areas, and after examining, he realized that these bones were for humans, but their size was several times larger than the size of normal bones. Then these bones were taken to an archaeologist. Along with several other experts, he examined the bones and concluded that the bones belonged to a human who was approximately 8 meters tall, and researchers estimated that the bones were at least 10,000 years old. This expert archaeologist claimed that the area where these bones were found was known as the graveyard of giants among the locals, but this claim was never proven. Footprints of the Chinese giant. In August 2016, a strange and surprising discovery happened in Guizhou, China. While hiking, a photographer found footprints that looked just like human footprints, but with the difference that they were more than twice the size of a human foot in length and width and had sunk into the ground about 3 centimeters. The scientists estimated that the footprints must have belonged to someone who was about 4 feet tall. Many say that this story is a lie, which is completely understandable, but this fact cannot be ignored that the mentioned story is not the first time that something like this has been discovered. In 1912, a 120 centimeter footprint was found in South Africa, and it was related to about 200 million years, maybe belonging to the ancient civilization of the giants, which has its roots in Indian cultures, the Bible, and Islam. As a wonderful fact, this 1912 footprint was for someone who was almost 8 meters tall and could have been a very large giant. The two-headed giant kap-dwa. Kap-dwa or kap-dwa is the name of a huge human with a height of 3.5 meters who was captured by Spanish sailors in the 17th century according to the stories. In a museum in Maryland, the human remains of a giant with 2 heads are kept, which is believed to be related to the famous kap-dwa giant. According to the stories left from centuries ago, there was a region called Patagonia in the south of the American continent in which huge humans were living, and kap-dwa was one of the strangest creatures living in this region. With these interpretations, is kap-dwa one of the exceptional cases resulting from rare genetic inconsistencies, or in the past centuries and before the complete domination of ordinary humans with a height between 1.5 and 2 meters, gigantic two-legged creatures were also considered as normal phenomena? An exhumation by Phillips brothers. A 1912 news article detailed an exhumation at Mountain Cemetery by Phillips brothers. This cemetery was in Wisconsin, America, and according to the New York Times, on May 4, 1912, 18 giant skeletons were discovered, which had carefully been buried in this mountain cemetery. These bones were a little similar to the skeletons of monkeys, but in many ways they were also similar to the skeletons of humans, and after several researches, these bones were identified as human bones. Before that, other skeletons of giants had also been found in Wisconsin. The first one had been found by a group of researchers in 1881, according to the New York Times. Then the second one, an almost 3-meter giant, had been discovered in 1897, which gave rise to the theory that Wisconsin had possibly been an ancient civilization for giants. Giant finger. About 50 years ago, a finger that was said to belong to a very large and tall creature was discovered in Egypt. The length of this finger is stated to be 28 centimeters, and it is estimated that if it is real, this piece of flesh and bone can refer to a creature with a height of at least 5 meters. A photo was taken of this in 1988 and was published in one of the prestigious European publications called Build. Giants of Varna. The discovery happened in the city of Varna in Bulgaria. It can be interesting to know that Varna used to be an ancient Greek city and was famous for having thousands of secrets about giants. Therefore, it is not surprising that a large human skeleton was discovered there in January 2015. This skeleton was buried in a very surprising way and its hands were on its waist. Some individuals thought this skeleton was related to a very tall human, but another group said that this giant was the same ancient Greek giant Odysseus, troglodyte giant. In 1911, two miners decided to hunt a type of bat that was used to make gunpowder. Therefore, they went into a cave, but this adventure led to a strange ancient discovery. Then they informed Alfred Kroeber, who was the head of archaeology department at the University of California. They found several mummies with normal size, but some surprisingly large skeletons were found besides. The skeletons were over 3 meters tall. They even found a large handprint in the same cave that didn't look like a normal human at all. Another mystery, this time within Colorado River. In 1905, while boating on Colorado River, someone discovered a large tunnel that went 1.5 kilometers underground. Following the tunnel, a Buddha statue was found. This individual also found several other historical tools such as spears and swords, but the most surprising discovery was the skeletons of humans who were 2 to 3 meters tall. What made the case more suspicious was that, after this discovery, the American government completely blocked this area and no other news came out of it. Giants of Death Valley. In 1931, a physicist found caves and tunnels in Death Valley in United States of America and decided to explore these tunnels with a companion. When they returned there, they realized that the place was not an ordinary cave and there was an environment of 289 square kilometers under it. The first thing they found was an almost religious place full of various signs and symbols. Then they discovered a strange and big human skeleton that was about 2 to 3 meters tall. This story was first published in a newspaper, but some say that the American government collected these skeletons and left no trace of them. After discussing all these, do you still deny the existence of giants? By the way, what do you think about dwarfs? In another video, we will talk about dwarfs. Subscribe to the channel in order not to miss the next videos.